How's it going, guys? A music fan here. Welcome to another installment of my Concert Corner series, and today we're going to be saying a few highlights and some of my thoughts on the event that last night or early this morning, celebrating life, Linkin Park and friends, celebrating the life of Chester Bennington. Which took place at the Hollywood Bowl in LA last night, early this morning. So as to my general thoughts about this particular show, I mean, it was the first show done after the first show done after the untimely death of Chester Bennington, their lead singer, their frontman, and I'm going to use a little bit of buzzwords to describe. It was so emotional, cathartic. It was funny in some places, powerful, moving, really hitting you right here in the heart, in all the right places. And yeah, I mean, it was all that. And like a couple of the highlights for me watching this particular performance. I mean, the band first starting out, the show. I mean, initially it was, as I'm sure with everybody else, it was very strange seeing a Chester Bennington-less band, but their prowess and their tightness as a band, and also Mike Shinoda, whom we all know from the get-go, like he's his voice cracking in a lot of places, understandably, is no Chester Bennington, obviously, but he carried out the torch really, really well, even despite his vocal limitations, his emotional state at that time. He really soldiered on through, and he really carried the band in that performance as he could in that particular moment in this show. And he just did fantastic all around, like he really did. Like one highlight that I remember is that when they were starting out Battle Symphony, there was an error, and he stopped the whole thing, and it kind of did the same thing that Adele did in the Grammys when she was performing a tribute to George Michael, and she kind of stopped the performance and say, "I'm not going to mess that up." He did the same. He did that, and said, like, "We're not going to mess this up," kind of thing, which I thought was really, it was a little bit funny, but also kind of cool, too, and. I mean, all the performances done here was just simply amazing. It was fantastic. All the guest stars that they had brought in, from Sydney of Echo Smith to Darren from System of a Down, Jonathan Davis. I don't remember. I'm not going to remember all their names because I'm horrible at names, but I think some members of a Japanese band they were supposed to tour with. Blink-182 also guest starred. Derek from Sum 41 came in for the Catalyst, which was amazing. Alanis Morissette came in, and I don't remember the song, but I do remember her singing her own song afterwards, and that was just simply just amazing, just really like lyrically really encompassing the feelings that someone who has mental illness, someone who suffers from depression or suffers from any kind of debilitating illness that prevents them from living the fullest extent of life, and just creating the misunderstanding between that person and society. I mean, it was really intense, that moment, and she sung it off. She sang perfectly. It was a really amazing song. And uh, other highlights, I mean, One Step Closer, Jonathan Davis came out for that one, as well as two other guitar players who I don't know who they are. You know, and that was amazing. I mean, they sung In the End. Also, that was incredible too. Crawling. Who did they sing Crawling with? I don't remember, so I don't have it on the top of my head. But yeah, all the guest performances did amazingly well, like amazingly. Like, two main highlights that I want to point out though are probably the most emotional of the night. They One is they sung the title song of One More Light. That was really like just an emotional moment. Like I mean, I got very teary-eyed watching that performance. I was initially thinking that it was going to be just passed to the crowd and they would sing back while the band just played the music, but the way it came out, like it I couldn't have thought any other fitting way to do it. And then after that, Mike brought out a new song. It's their first song after Chester's passing, and it was 8 days after the fact, and Looking for Answers. And I got very choked up when he performed that song, and the lyrics just kind of describing like his feeling of the moment of like not only losing a vital member of your band, but also in many ways your best friend. That was like super intense moment. Like I couldn't, I cried. I got choked up too, you know, but and I'm sure that was very, very difficult for him to not only play a new song, but to, in that particular moment, him singing it was just very intense. But he brought it through. And the other thing is that, like, Mike is not the greatest singer in the world. So in more than one instance throughout the show, his voice tended to crack a little bit here and there, but that only added, not detracted, added to the intensity of the show, and just like the more humanizing of the show. Another highlight I just remembered is that Numb wasn't performed by any musicians, even the band, but they had it in a playback, and the crowd singing like all the words to Numb, and they had put Chester's microphone in the front stage, and it was kind of wrapped up in this very plant-like structure around it, just kind of symbolizing, metaphorically speaking, life, and how, you know, life grows from tragedy. You know, I thought that was very amazingly symbolic, and I really liked that a lot. Yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, there were moments that were funny. It was sad. It was intense. It was amazingly energetic. But I think the bigger emphasis that the band intended to get through this performance was that we are one family, and we need each other. And even though Chester is gone, even though he's gone, like, we celebrate his life and what he left behind, and also what he loved the most, which was caring and giving to those in need, as well as his love for music. His spirit was there, and I think that emphasis was really executed well in this performance. I mean, it was emotional, it was intense, it was cathartic, and yet it was a show that was more a celebration rather than a funeral. I think that's like the last thing the band would ever want in a moment like this. And it did just that. It did just that. And last thing I'll say is what I also found amazing was that they had a video playback of Chester in his last Linkin Park show with him alive. He was reciting the Manchester bombings earlier in this year, and he was telling the crowd, look at the next person next to you and say you love them, and then to have the crowd in the Hollywood Bowl do the same thing, it was pretty mind blowing to see that, but it just goes to show that love has no boundaries. Overall, all the guest stars performed extremely well. Everyone paid tribute the best way they could, and they succeeded 100%. Alanis Morissette did great. System did great. I mean, Darren did great. Blink-182, they covered What I've Done and also I Miss You. Derek from Sum 41. Sydney from Echo Smith, she did fantastic in Waiting for the End. And Kiara, I'm not speaking well today. Kiara also came with Heavy, their recent song, and that song now speaks a lot more in volumes now than it did then. And the ending was also pretty beautiful. They had Bleed It Out, but then they transitioned into a snippet of The Messenger from 1,000 Suns. And that mantra, that lyrical mantra, even back then when I first reviewed the record, that mantra over there, when life leaves us blind, love keeps us kind. I mean, that was the mantra that kind of ended the whole thing, and that was a brilliant ending to this show. It strongly emphasized how important it is that we need each other and how we have to help each other go through our own struggles, and that we're all one family. And Chester was definitely a huge part of that. So overall, I don't want to give this a rating because that would feel that it's not fair. If I have to though, I would say straight 5 all the way. All the guests did amazingly well. The band, through very insurmountable odds, overcame what I'm sure was very terrifying, was difficult, was really intense to go through, but they came out and they came out for Chester, and everybody came out for Chester. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Leave your comment section down below. Tell me, what do you think of the performance, and that's all I can say. Rest in peace, Chester Bennington, and thank you, Linkin Park, for your music and your career. And whatever they decide to do in the future with the band, they will know that they have my support all the way. With no doubt at all, they have my support all the way, as I'm sure you guys as well. It's Mr. Music Fan. I'll see you guys next time. Take care of yourselves.